Before we begin, we'd like to take a moment to recognize those who have tragically lost their lives at the hands of law enforcement. It would be remiss to ignore the trauma and harm being inflicted on the Black community at this time. Today, we remember George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Dante Wright, Adam Toledo, and Ma'Khia Bryant, and everyone else who's lost their lives at the hands of police. To start, I would like to welcome activist, author, and cultural critic Mikki Kendall. Mikki Kendall is a writer, diversity consultant, and occasional feminist who talks a lot about intersectionality, policing, gender, sexual assault, and other current events. Her essays can be found at Time, The New York Times, The Guardian, The Washington Post, Ebony, Essence, Salon, The Boston Globe, NBC, Bustle, Islamic Monthly, and a host of other sites. Her media appearances include BBC, NPR, The Daily Show, PBS, Good Morning America, MSNBC, Al Jazeera, WVON, WBEZ, and Showtime. She has discussed race, feminism, education, food, politics, police violence, tech, and pop culture at institutions and universities across the country. Please join me in a warm welcome to Mikki Kendall.
Thank you for having me. So here's the thing about keynotes, right? They're supposed to make you excited. They're supposed to get you hyped. And I know right now, in the middle of a pandemonium, with the news being the way the news is, it's really hard to get excited. It's really hard to think about your future and not get stressed out. How am I going to make it, right? Whether that is paying off student loan debt, if you have student loan debt, or finding a job and then finding a job that pays enough, to the issues that are frankly affecting us all, from police brutality to people who are homeless to or unhoused. I'm trying to get that word out of my vocabulary. See, I make mistakes. To gender identity, to any of a dozen and one other social justice issues. It can feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Have bad news. In some ways, the weight of the world is on your shoulders. It's on all of our shoulders. And we have to start thinking of this as a community, not just the community that you see, not just the people that you know, but the people you don't know, the people in places where you've never been and you may never go, because the decisions that you make will affect those around you. That's just as the decisions others make will affect you. Because here's the thing, I'm in my mid-40s. Eventually, this world will not be my world. I won't be here. You will be here. Your kids will be here. Your grandkids will be here. And I am going to say to you, as I wish had been said to my elders, it is not just the world that exists for you. It is the world that you leave behind that matters. And I hope we can all consider what we are creating, what we are sustaining, and what we are leaving behind. Thank you.
Thank you so much for opening today's conference with such an amazing and real conversation. We do have some questions from the audience. We can start off firstly with, how can we make space and amplify the voices of women and people of color who aren't included in social justice movements?
So I will say this. I have a hard time believing that you can create a movement that does not include others if you are also looking for it to be social justice. If it is a question of, I would like to amplify voices, and you have a mic, pass the mic. You have a platform, open the door. Now, I know that there is a tendency to say that we're speaking up for the voiceless. We're going to solve the problem. I have yet to meet anyone who could not speak up for themselves and their community's issues in some way. Right? They may need help turning those thoughts into an article. They may need help getting access to a platform. One of the things I like to do when things come my way, as you may have noticed, I've written for a lot of places. A lot of those editors will reach out and they will say, hey, I know you're busy, but would you happen to know someone who can write about it? My internal personal policy in movements and in work is to try to say, oh yeah, so-and-so is really good, and connect them. A, because I can't write the article. But B, because I also am not an expert on everything. If you want to include more people, invite them in. Listen to them. Give them the mic and let them speak for themselves.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Just to end on a kind of like on the tips or advice, what is some advice that you can give to our students in the audience today as they continue on their social justice and advocacy journeys?
I would give you the advice, then this will sound tweet, but do not set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Do not burn out trying to fix everything at once, right? There are going to be people, I like to call them energy vampires, if you've heard this term before, who will always have something else they need you to help with, right? That list just never ends. And they will even seem like they mean it. But ask yourself why they think you don't deserve time to address your life, time to have a relationship or make plans or whatever, right? Work, school, pick your thing. And I think sometimes the most effective activism is to make sure you are actually in good fighting form, so to speak, to do the activism. Because if you do not, you will be fried. You will be so burned out that you won't be good at anything. And I think in that journey also, listen, you don't have to solve every problem. Sometimes when you come to the place where the problem exists, the people there have a solution. You just need you to help them enact their solution. It's funny how often helping requires less energy than setting yourself up to be a martyr. Martyrs are really very effective activists. Just saying.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming today and speaking to us here. This wraps up our session with Mikki Kendall. Thank you so much. We hope you have enjoyed the rest of your day today.
Great. You all are all amazing. Have a good day. I hope that you all have a good rest of the year. Feel free to have shenanigans and food. Please be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. Eat something and take a nap.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thanks.